Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are we doing? Are we ready to finish out day 3 of the Alexander Jackson trial? I know I am. I hope you are too. It's been riveting, I tell ya. We are still talking. Oh, wait a minute. Welcome to Rush to Judgment with Jessica. I am Jessica, and we are talking about the Alexander Jackson trial. He is on trial and being charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder for the murder of his mom, dad, and younger sister. He claims there was an intruder. He fought the intruder. Intruder shot him in the foot over while wrestling over the gun used in the attacks on his family. We have gone through numerous people, cops, neighbors, medical examiners, things like that. If you would like to catch up, you can go back to the playlist. It is the RTJ reacts to the Alexander Jackson trial. It is in the playlist. They're all on there. You can catch up, or you can just watch from here. But I do highly recommend going back and catching up. That way you know what's going on. Anywho's, if you are new here, hey girl, hey. Welcome. If you're returning, hey girl, hey, welcome back. Good to see you. Good to see you. So I want to remind everybody that I'm not an expert and I don't specialize in law or any area that involves any of this. I merely do this for entertainment for myself and hopefully for you. So I just add my opinions and my commentary and maybe a little bit of education sprinkled in there. A little bit, maybe not, I don't know, on some various topics in maybe law or sometimes mental health and relationships and things like that. Anything that might pop up that I might have comment or opinions on. I have lots of opinions. So that's what I do. And that's what we do over here. We just talk. We just talk through things. So if you like what you see, like and comment and subscribe, and then hit that notification to get notified every time I put up a new video. And I try to put one up every day, but here lately, life, life has just been life. And so it's been happening. And I don't always get a chance to put one up every day. But I try to do as much as I can. So, okay. So here we go. This is again, like I said, this is the Alexander Jackson trial, day 3. Currently, it was a current trial when I started it. Currently, they're on verdict watch, so no spoilers. I think they went on verdict watch maybe today, possibly yesterday. I don't really know. I try not to do spoilers. So, and I won't do spoilers. So, I will just keep watching and keep going with it, and continue to finish out the trial this way. Because once I started something, you have to finish. You always have to finish. Otherwise, people leave unsatisfied. You have to finish. Everybody has to finish. It's rude if you don't finish. So, okay. So right now on day 3, we are still with Mr. What's McCall What's his name? Mr. Bozo here, Mr. Boozenberg, boozing, boozing, boozing something. Yeah, Boozenberg. Okay. Spelled with an S, not a Z, like you would think. Boozenberg. We are on he was an investigator. Not sure what he investigated because all the questions he gets asked are kind of like, I don't know. Well, why didn't you swab this for DNA? Well, I don't know. Well, why didn't you test this fingerprint? Well, I don't know. Well, why didn't you? So, you know where I'm going with that. They didn't really, you know, they had their man. They didn't check for anybody else. Did the they did the whole tunnel vision. They had who they thought did it, which was Alex, and that was it. That's all they did. Yeah. So we have his redirect coming up once we get restarted here. And then I think we got another couple things with this one. And then we will be done with day 3. Okay. Okay. So we're going to switch that. And we're going to add this. And we are going to get started. But remember to like and subscribe. Hold on, put me up here. Oh, hello. Remember to like and subscribe. Okay? Got to do that so I can get my stuff out there and, you know, I can be more popular. Okay. Okay. Here we go.
It's fine with me. Doesn't make any sense to take shorter than 15 minutes, just so everybody has enough time. So we'll take 15 minutes, and hopefully this will be our mid-afternoon recess for the day. So I've got 2:35. I guess that'd be about 2:50.
I didn't come back after the break. So we come back. My bad, y'all. Oh, here we are.
Break with our jury and counsel, Mr. Jackson present. Mr. Bozenberg is still at the witness stand. Again, Mr. Bozenberg, I'm just going to remind you that you're still under oath.
Still under oath.
Back to Ms. Slaughter for possible redirect examination. So, Ms. Slaughter, you may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator Bozenberg, in reference to the NIBIN report, who submitted the information into the NIBIN system in this case?
So Investigator Jessica Harden would have completed the submission, which goes to an ATF contractor that works out of the Cedar Rapids Police Department, who would have then put in the data into the system.
And when you say an ATF contractor that works in Cedar Rapids, who is that person?
Her name is Michaela Norris.
And is her name shown on the second page of that NIBIN report?
It is.
Regarding the specific information input regarding the type of bullet where it says 22 caliber short, who inputs that information?
That would be a field that is data is input by Michaela Norris.
While we were on recess or taking our break, did yourself, me, Mr. Shear, and Mr. Johnson participate in a, I don't know, experiment for lack of a better word?
Yes.
And can you describe what was done in that experimentation?
Yes, we took the live rounds and loaded the firearm to confirm how many fit into the magazine.
To be clear, live rounds were collected from the scene, correct?
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, one of the evidence markers for the live rounds at the fireplace was evidence marker 9. Is that correct?
Yes.
Evidence marker 9, which I'm going to now refer to as State's Exhibit 172. When you collected those live rounds, were they put into this baggie?
Yes, they were.
And did you mark this baggie with the number 9?
Yes.
Does that number 9 correspond with the evidence marker, that yellow tint that was associated with number 9 on the fireplace?
Yes.
Now, there was also another live round found next to Jan Jackson's body. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that was evidence tent 12, correct?
Yes.
Was that collected?
Yes.
And when that was collected, was that also placed into a plastic baggie?
Yes.
Did you mark 12 on the outside of that plastic baggie?
Yes.
And I'm going to refer to that going forward as State's Exhibit 174. The 3 live rounds that were taken out of the gun during processing, you said you did collect those, and we saw a picture of that at the bottom of the gun sack, correct?
Correct.
Is that what you marked as 14 gas?
Yes.
And I'm going to refer to that, my sticker is not sticking very well, but 173. And I'm going to write State's Exhibit 173 because my sticker's not sticking to the paper basket. When you put those pieces of evidence into the baggies, they are then sealed with this red evidence tape. Is that correct?
Yes.
And prior to our experiment, were both of those baggies sealed with that red tape?
Yes.
On Exhibit 172, the baggie that you have numbered with a 9, in order to conduct our experiment, did we have to cut through that evidence tape?
Yes.
And is that the only reason that's unsealed?
Yes.
Now, the live ammunition or the live cartridges that were collected in State's Exhibit 172, they came out of the Remington box that was seated on that lower fireplace mantle, correct?
Yes.
And was that box also collected and photographed?
Yes.
If you can look at your side computer there momentarily. Can you send the image just to his computer, Judge? Does he have it there?
You should.
Yes.
I'm going to scroll through briefly Investigator Bosenberg showing you State's Exhibit 161, 162, 163, 164, 165, 166, 167, 168, 169, 170, and 171. Do you recognize those photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took of the box of Remington ammunition that was collected from the 4414 address?
Yes.
And in those photos, did you photograph each side of this box of ammunition?
I did.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to admit Exhibits 1.
Good Lord.
171.
How many?
Any objection? All right.
I would also move to admit State's Exhibits 171, 172, 173, and 174.
Any objection to those exhibits, Mr. Johnson? All right, then. At this time, State's Exhibits 161 through and inclusive of 174 are admitted. Would you like to publish the ones that you have electronically?
Yes, Your Honor. And since I'm on 171, Investigator Bosenberg, I'm going to go backwards. In Exhibit 171, there is a big number 10 above the box of ammunition. Is that correct?
Yes.
Does that number 10 or is that number 10 meant to correspond with the evidence tent that you used on the scene?
Yes.
High velocity.
Looking at specifically Exhibit 168, can you tell us what type of ammunition was contained in this box?
22 long rifle.
Long rifle.
Yes.
And is that confirmed from this other angle in Exhibit 167?
Yes.
Investigator Bosenberg, do you have independent knowledge of specifically how long a Remington .22 caliber long
Remington?
rifle bullet should be? Bullet, one of these.
Yes.
And
A bullet,
approximately
one
how
of these.
long is the long one
They're in between 15 and 16 millimeters long.
versus the short bullet?
Yeah, the 22 short's around just over 10 millimeters.
May I republish another exhibit that's already been admitted, Your Honor?
You may.
Republishing Exhibit 73, Investigator Bosenberg. In looking at this photograph, the live round that is shown in this photo, is that next to a ruler?
Yes.
And approximately how large is the round shown in this exhibit?
It's around that 15 to 16 millimeter mark. It should be noted that from 5 to the end is a half of a centimeter.
And just to be clear, Investigator Bosenberg, when we opened this baggie that's marked States Exhibit 172, was this the ammunition that we used in that experiment to load the rifle, Exhibit 155?
Yes, it was.
How many rounds make that rifle full?
11.
What happened when we tried to put a 12th round in it?
It would not go in. It stuck out of the loading port.
So fully loaded, the rifle that we have in Exhibit 155 only holds 11 rounds.
Yes.
She's ready to turn that light back on, you.
Investigator Bosenberg, you were also asked some questions about potential markings seen on the defendant's foot while he was at the hospital. Is that correct?
Stippling.
Yes.
Why was stippling not checked?
May I have permission to republish States Exhibit 150, Your Honor?
You may.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Investigator Bosenberg, looking at the injury depicted in States Exhibit 150.
Oh, do we get to see it? Do we get to see it? Oh, it's on my eyeball.
The circular pattern around that injury, do you see that?
Yes.
Injury.
Is
She
that circular
can't say
pattern
words
consistent in size and
today.
shape with the barrel of that .22 rifle?
I would say it is, yes.
Objection. Speculation.
You mentioned, thank you, Judge. You mentioned that you've found some cleaning supplies in the house.
Yes.
Can you recall where those were?
I want to say they were associated with a safe in the back room in the basement.
But not in that front living room area.
No.
You were asked by Mr. Johnston if you cut the carpet up in this home. Do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
And there were several different places where carpet was cut up, correct?
Correct.
May I republish, Your Honor?
Sure, which exhibit are we going to be?
94.
All right.
In States Exhibit 94, the area that had the deeply saturated blood patterns behind the couch, that square around that pattern, does that suggest or indicate that you cut up that piece of carpet?
Yes.
And when you cut up that piece of carpet, did you examine what was underneath in an attempt to find the bullet?
Yes.
Did you find a bullet there?
No.
Did you also cut up the carpet in the defendant's bedroom where it was deeply saturated next to his bed?
Yes.
Examined under that?
Yes.
And did you find a bullet there?
No.
I already said they didn't find the bullet, dummy.
There was a line of questions asked to you about
But he was clearly fucking shot in the
whether
foot,
you
so
expect to see palm prints or handprints on a gun. Do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
Can you describe the difference in texture in the area of the gun if you were holding it normally? What did you call this? The fore something?
Oh, like the foregrip?
The foregrip, yes. What is the texture there on that firearm?
It's stippled. There's a texture on it, so it's grippier. It's not all polished wood.
It's far from polished, right?
Right.
Okay. And that type of texture would not be conducive to a fingerprint. Is that correct?
Absolutely not.
That texture that's seen on that foregrip of the firearm is also the same texture seen in the back area on the butt in some areas. Is that true?
Yes.
And so that area on the back would also not be conducive for fingerprints.
Correct. Not conducive at all.
Now, you were asked several questions about excluding and whether or not you could exclude this alleged burglar. When you get this report back, this algorithm back from your fingerprinting software, are you given names?
No.
What are you given?
Through the state system, it's your state ID number, and through the FBI, it's your FBI number. So all we receive back is the algorithm score and the state or FBI number.
Do you know why you're not giving names?
It's an impartial process, so we don't see names. All we see is a number, so we can't look at the names and have any preconceived notions about what we're looking at.
That way you can't see or imagine seeing a match because you want to find a specific person's fingerprints, right?
Correct.
It keeps you fair.
Yes.
Okay. So when you are comparing those 5 results that come back from this fingerprint database, you said that there were identifying markers, right?
So there's identifying like data points or markers in the latent print that were used to match up or make the algorithm with the known prints.
Okay. And if I recalled your testimony correctly during direct examination, the points of detail that you look at, you were explaining how on a fingerprint opposed to a palm print necessarily, there's the bend or the curve points that make it easier or make those specific points of identification more distinguishable. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so if what I understood you said about latent 3 is that the markers on latent 3 that you saw weren't curved.
Correct.
It was harder to distinguish those points of detail.
Yes, in comparison. You could find those points within those parallel lines, but doing a comparison makes it difficult with those parallel lines.
they're making him
When you-
do work that's not necessarily his work.
We're looking at that latent 3.
Like he's the spokesman for every single part of
You
the
concluded that the 5
investigation.
unidentified matches.
He's not the
number
fingerprint
identified
person.
matches that you
He's not the
received from the
DNA
sample.
person.
You couldn't
He's not
match
any of that.
those 5. those
They
top
need to
5
bring
the
in
data that
all
you
of
had in front
those
of you, correct?
people, not
Correct.
just him. They've got this poor
Couldn't
man
exclude
sitting up
or
here
include.
answering questions about
Correct.
things that he doesn't fucking do.
You can't say whether or not that was Jan Jackson's print.
Correct.
Can't say whether or not that latent 3 was Alexander Jackson's print.
Correct.
Or this alleged intruder's print, right?
Correct.
Why you say it like that?
But you could definitively say, based on your opinion and experience and training, that the 2 prints that you did see on the buttstock of that gun belonged to the defendant.
Yes.
Now, Investigator Bosenberg, you were asked a line of questioning by Mr. Johnston related to how a gun is typically held. Do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
And Mr. Johnston asked you some questions about whether or not it would be probable or more likely if someone was holding the gun from the stock if they were wrestling over the gun. Do you remember
Yes.
questions similar to that?
Yes.
If the intruder was holding the gun, where would you have expected to find Mr. Jackson's fingerprints?
Not on the buttstock end. On the barrel end is where I would expect to find those.
You don't know.
Well, the line of questioning also from Mr. Johnston asked you questions about how
You
the
know where
gun would
you'd
be
find
held
them.
if the defendant intentionally shot himself in the foot. Do you recall that line of questions?
Yes.
When you stood up here and demonstrated where that right palm print was and where that left palm print was, could that have very easily been the position that the gun was being held when the defendant was shot in the foot?
Very possibly, yes.
Earlier, when we discussed the latent print marks 1 and latent print mark 2, can you remind us how you described the quality of those prints?
The quality was very good on those. There was lots of detail present.
Would you expect the quality of a print to be that good if a struggle was ensuing over this firearm?
Not at all.
You say not at all very definitively. Can you tell us why you say that?
If there's a struggle and somebody was gripping the gun there, that means there's forces on both sides, so that gun's going to be moving around. And prints are very delicate, so, as we described earlier, if you slide
But they
your finger
were
on something, it makes
smudged.
smear marks and kind of distorts the whole print. Those prints didn't really have any indication at all of that type of movement on the print. Being that they were large enough and of good quality enough, there's a lot of crisp detail in those prints.
Can you tell us what kickback is on a firearm?
Why does that
Yes, so,
fucking matter?
when you fire any type of firearm, the firing of the bullet creates force. Obviously, the bullet goes out the front at a certain velocity, but there's also some back pressure, either on the buttstock or on a handgun that kicks back a little bit.
Typically, if that type of rifle is being held in the proper mannerism, the buttstock and the shoulder, would that minimize the amount of movement after a shot was fired?
Yes.
There were a couple of less than ideal places on the prints in Latent 1 and Latent 2. I think you called them heavy, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
What was the term you used to describe those areas?
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't
Just
know the exact word,
answer
but I
the
believe it was long
question.
marks on there.
Holding the firearm in that position that you demonstrated for us, could the kickback from the firearm at the time that it was fired cause those little smudge marks or those heavy marks?
The objection's overruled. You may answer the question.
That could be one cause of those, yes.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you.
Yep, recross.
Mr. Bosenberg, you know that Latent 3 does not belong to Alexander Jackson, don't you?
I don't know if I could definitively say that 100%.
Well, Latent 3 was suitable for identification, right?
I don't even know if I would go that far. There was data points there that could be used for identification.
You entered it into the computer and it kicked back other prints, right?
Yes, but that doesn't really give us an indication if it's identifiable or not.
Not one of those was Alexander Jackson's print, was it?
I don't know that for sure because when it kicks back numbers, not a name.
You know it didn't kick back Alexander Jackson.
Because you had his known print.
I can't definitively answer that right now.
I think, well, is it because you can't remember?
Yeah, I don't remember the numbers that popped up on the screen for number 3.
If you couldn't exclude Alexander Jackson, you would have put that in your report. Would you not have?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
So there's no mention in your report that Latent 3 could possibly belong to Alexander Jackson, right?
Yes, I did mention that it could belong to him.
And that's because you excluded him as a potential source for Latent 3, and that's why you put it in the computer.
They were put in the computer first before I did any comparison to any other known prints.
You know that Latent 3 did not belong to Alexander Jackson. Isn't that true?
All right, the objection is sustained.
There were enough markers on that print that made it suitable for identification. Is that not true?
Again, I can't definitively answer that. There were data points on that print that could be used for identification, but without a suitable known print, I can't definitively answer if that print
There are enough
could be identified.
data points on that print that did not match the palm prints of Alexander Jackson, correct?
That's, again, a tough question to definitively answer. The palm is so large with enough data points.
But you had his palm print.
So I-
You had his known print, and it didn't
Submit
match
Layton's one
his,
or two
right?
into the computer, did you?
I did.
Well, okay, but you already had Alexander Jackson's prints.
So Alexander Jackson's prints were on file. I matched them up because when I submitted Layton 1 and 2 through the system, he was the #1 respondent through the algorithm.
You had them on file because you collected them from him when he was arrested.
Yes.
But Layton 3 got treated differently, didn't it?
No.
Because Alexander Jackson did not come back as a potential source for that print, did he?
I don't know. Sitting here now, there was 5 top respondents, and I went through them, and I didn't document the numbers that those 5 came back to.
You know it didn't come back to him. You stop that right now. You would have known
You're
if it
saying here
came
today
back
you
to
don't
him.
remember that you could exclude him, or
You
you don't
stop
remember
that
whether his name
right
came up
now.
as a potential source for that print?
Well, names don't come up in the system. It's numbers.
Numbers.
You
whatever.
would know if it came.
You say
You
you
know
don't
his
remember
palm
now.
print came up, but you don't know that his latent
there's-
fingerprint came up.
When you get
You
responses
better
back,
stop that right
there's
now.
lots of numbers that pop up. I didn't document which numbers number 3 responded with. As I went through them, that wasn't documented.
Well, this is a triple homicide case, right?
Yes.
This would be an important case to you, correct?
Yes.
And detail matters, doesn't it?
Yes.
And at no time when I was first questioning you about this, did you ever say that you couldn't exclude Alexander Jackson, correct?
Yes, I don't believe I was asked directly about that either.
There's a reason why you testified. When I asked you in deposition, you said Layton 1 and 2 belong to Alexander Jackson, correct?
Yes,
And when I asked you about Layton 3, you said it's unidentified,
that's correct.
meaning you could exclude Alexander Jackson.
That means I don't know who it belongs to.
Because sometimes you have enough of a print that even though you can't make a definitive match, you can exclude certain people as the source, right?
That is potential inference, yes.
And this was that instance, right?
I don't recall. Again, this print wasn't of the greatest quality, so I struggled with the quality of this print.
I don't understand why you say you don't recall. This is an important detail. I don't understand why I don't recall is an acceptable answer for you.
Is there a question there, Your Honor?
Go ahead, Mr. Johnson, ask your question.
So I'm asking you, search your memory, because I guess that's what we have to do now. And you say, can you exclude Alexander Jackson or not as the potential source for that Layton 3?
I have not found a match for that latent print. I don't know the source of that latent print at all.
I understand that.
Yes.
I understand that you haven't found a match. And you didn't know whether some of the prints that came back on the computer were matches or not because you didn't have enough information, right?
Right.
But there are times when you, even though you can't have a match, you can exclude people because there's enough difference. Isn't it true that you could exclude Alexander Jackson as the source of Layton 3?
Yes, it would be a true statement that he potentially could be excluded by a thorough examination of those two.
Are you saying you didn't do a thorough examination?
I examined them for a while, but like I said earlier, the palm print is so big and there was the detail of that one print was so few that I wasn't able to match it up at all, but I don't know if I would go as far as it's an unknown. I don't know where that print came from.
I understand, but you do know that it didn't come from Alexander Jackson.
That's a good possibility, yes.
Now, getting back to this NIBIN report. On the NIBIN report, it describes the ammunition as 22 short, right?
Yes.
It says that in 3 different places on that report,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Every time it describes ammunition, it describes it as 22 short, right?
Yes.
And if the ammunition that had been used were in fact 22 shorts, like that report says, then more ammunition would have fit into that rifle, correct?
Yes. If the ammunition was actually a short, more than 11 would have fit.
So the NIBIN report then is incorrect when it identifies the shell casing as a 22 short.
Yes, I would interpret that
Apparently.
as an entry error.
But that makes it all the more critical that the 3 bullets inside
Hmm.
the gun were tested for DNA, doesn't it?
Guess it's in the eye of the beholder on the importance that we didn't send them in. That wasn't a,
I understand, but that's, if we know now that it has to be reloaded from our experiment that we did,
yes,
then those 3 rounds that were still in the gun had to have been loaded by the shooter. Would you agree with that?
yes.
So that makes it that much more important that we tested those for potential DNA, does it not?
I mean, you had to rank it in importance with among other evidence.
Can
I
you
guess by
just
some
say
other
yes
evidence
or
that was sent,
no,
the
bro?
DNA swab from the trigger was sent because
It's a yes
that
or no
trigger is also
answer.
cold.
Keep your witness in check.
So is that a yes, that it makes the evidence more important, or a no?
Important, yes.
Thank you. Move on.
And I
I'm
believe you
so
testified on
over
redirect
this,
that
man.
the foregrip of the gun is not suitable for fingerprints, is that right?
The texture portion, correct.
But it would be suitable for DNA evidence.
Yes, and that's why I swabbed the forend.
Right. So how would you expect Mr. Jackson's fingerprints to be on the foregrip when Ms. Slaughter asked you the question if they're not suitable for fingerprints?
What?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Why would you expect Mr. Jackson's fingerprints to be on the foregrip of the gun, as you just testified on redirect? Then
You wouldn't expect
when you
his
answered Ms. Slaughter's question, you said
fingerprints
you would
to be
expect his finger to
there.
be on the barrel. Is that what you meant, the metal part of the gun?
Oh, the forward part. The barrel runs from the end all the way, covering the foregrip area.
But I assume you were talking about the foregrip area is where you would expect to find his fingerprints.
You didn't
Could have been
really
in a
say
struggle
Yes.
over the gun.
fingerprints.
Anywhere on the front end could be a suitable place to grab it if there was a struggle.
That would all depend on where the other person had a hold of the gun, wouldn't it?
There's lots of different inputs that would affect the result.
Again,
And
speculation.
in terms of the marking on the defendant's foot, if that is some sort of soot or stippling from the firearm, it makes it that much more important to test the muzzle of that firearm to see if there was any of the defendant's blood on that, wouldn't it?
Potentially, yes.
But you don't know what the source of that mark was on the defendant's foot, do you?
No.
And by the way, when Ms. Slaughter asked you about a burglar, nobody called this a burglary, did they?
Not that I've heard.
The caller didn't call it a burglary.
I'm sorry, who didn't?
The call on the 911 call.
I didn't listen to the 911 call.
Called it an intruder.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Slaughter, anything further?
Let it go, girl. Let it go.
Investigator Bosenberg, when you were reviewing latent print 3 specifically, and you got the
For
5
fuck's sake.
numbers back or identification numbers back, did you just then compare your latent to those prints associated with those 5 numbers?
Yes.
Once you compared your latent with those 5 numbers and you did not confirm that the latent matched either of those 5 prints, was there any reason for you to identify who those prints belonged to?
No.
All you can say for sure is the 5 numbers that kicked back, you were not able to confirm based on the detail points that the computer shot out and the detail points that you looked at, that latent print matched those prints, right?
Correct.
And I know it looks big in the picture. How big of an area of the palm are we talking about where this latent print 3
I'd have to check the photos, but I want to say it was less than a centimeter wide at its widest point. And you had to go in a little bit because the ends aren't very suitable for something like that. And I don't know if it was 2 centimeters long, maybe, just guessing without reference in the photo.
So less than an inch.
Yes, I would say probably that'd be accurate.
So you didn't like even see if one of
Leighton
those
3 was
5
described as being
were
4
Alex to
and off.
say
Is that correct?
Yes.
it's not his?
I don't have any further questions.
I don't believe you didn't check any of those numbers to see who those names were.
Definition of a latent print is that it's suitable for identification.
Dear God,
Right? You have
let
enough
this
characteristics
fucking
that you can
man
make a
go.
comparison.
That's not how I would describe a latent print.
This print had enough points of comparison that you could make an identification, did it not?
Again, as I said before, I don't know if I could commit to that answer. It had points of identification, but without a suitable candidate, I can't confirm that it would be a suitable print to match up.
So you never prepared a report about this print detailing the number of points of comparison?
No.
I don't have any further questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bosenberg. You may step down, and I believe we're now free to go.
Thank you.
Thank God. Woo! Jesus.
Back over to you, Mr. Shear.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Shear, does the state have another witness to call?
We do, Your Honor. The state would call investigator Matt Denlinger to the stand.
All right.
Denlinger.
Good afternoon, Investigator Denlinger. If you want to have a seat right over there to my far left, I'll swear you in once you're seated. Oh, thank you. And just first, that microphone is live. You can move it around however you'd like to make it work best for you. All right, I'm going to swear you in, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving this afternoon will be the truth?
I do.
All right. And then just for the record, can you please provide us with both your first and last names and spell them?
Matthew Denlinger, Mattthew. Denlinger is Denlinger.
All right, Mr. Shear.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, investigator. How are you? Good, thank you. Investigator Denlinger, who are you employed with? I work for the city of Cedar Rapids. How long have you worked for the city of Cedar Rapids? Since August of 1999. And who do you work for in the city of Cedar Rapids? I work for the Cedar Rapids Police Department. And have you worked for them since 1999?
He's going to tell him to slow down.
Can you please give us a brief history of your training and education in order to be a peace officer? Sure. I graduated from the University of Northern Iowa in 1997 with a degree in education. I went on to the Cedar Rapids Police Academy in 1999. Prior to that, I was a reserve officer for approximately 6 months and went to Reserve Academy also.
He's nervous.
As a police officer, I was a patrol officer.
Bet
for the
you if
first
you
4
took
years
that
of my
jacket
career,
off,
and then I
you
moved
would
back to
be
the investigative.
sweating.
Are you a certified law enforcement officer throughout the state of Iowa? I am. And so I think I heard you say that you started in 1999 and was a patrol officer for 4 years. Is that correct? Correct. And so in about 2003 is when you moved into the investigation bureau? Yes, it was the end of 2003. What initial division were you assigned with the investigation bureau? I was assigned to investigate burglaries. And are those kind of like known as property crimes? Yeah, they call it the property crime section now. And how long were you in the property crime section? I was in there for a couple of years. Where were you next assigned to? My next assignment was narcotics. How long were you in
Narcotics.
Approximately 8 or 9 years. Where are you currently assigned to? I'm currently assigned to work crimes against persons. And when you say crimes against persons, can you just tell us what type of crimes you're talking about? Typically, the type of crimes they would assign me would include homicides, robberies, violent assaults, things of that nature. I also worked on cold case investigations. What type of training have you had in order to be an investigator? I've been through all kinds of training. I've been to specific classes for different types of investigations, including narcotics conferences, burglary investigations, homicide school. I've been through other investigative classes such as interview and interrogation. I went through one of those when I first started in the bureau, and then I've been through an updated one more recently. How did you
get involved in this case?
When I showed up for work, it was June 15th, 2021. You know, I was standing around with the other investigators. It was early in the morning, so everyone was kind of getting started with their day. And we heard about the case through one of our supervisors came back in the hallway and started asking people to go out and assist.
Yeah, and I was having a hard time hearing Investigator Denlinger, so if you could speak up a little bit louder, I'd appreciate it. Okay, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Nobody's
So, I believe
having a
you were
hard
kind of
time
just
but you.
talking about the morning of June 15th of 2021 on how you got involved in this case. Just briefly describe to us, how does an investigator get assigned to a particular case such as a homicide case?
Sometimes it happens because you're on call. You happen to be on call the weekend it happens, and that's your area of expertise. So they would just give that case to you. Sometimes it's determined by everyone's workload at the time that a homicide occurs. In this particular case, you know, it was kind of all hands on deck because we did have 3 victims. We sent pretty much everyone that was available out to the crime scene to try to help canvass and do some of the initial work like that. As we were heading out there, I think Lieutenant Dostal was aware that Mr. Jackson was going to the hospital and so redirected myself to St. Luke's to try to meet with him there and interview him about it.
Were you working with anyone else that day?
Yes, investigator Sarah Lucina was also asked to go up to the hospital.
What type of information, and not just this particular case, but when you're assigned to a case like this, what information are you given to get you caught up to date or caught up to speed of what's going on?
Well, in a normal case, you would get a form we refer to as the 600, and that has all the basic information on the case. It has the victim's name and information, the reporting party's name and information, the date, the location, and then typically when it's assigned to me, I'll also get a handful of supplements that the officers have typed up or had typed up that talk about their initial response to the case, have some basic details on the case.
And you said something kind of interesting there is, in a typical case, was this a typical case for you?
No, this wasn't typical in that we're responding minutes after this happened. So none of that is done. So you don't have any of that information. You're kind of relying on someone's word of mouth that they give you in the hallway as they send you out the door, and you're trying to do your best to catch up or stay on top of things as you're working.
And so what time did you leave the Cedar Rapids Police Station to go to the hospital to speak to Mr. Jackson?
We left shortly after 8:30.
And so what information, if any, were you given before you left to go speak to Alex Jackson at the hospital?
Well, sometimes it's a little hard to remember, you know, precisely what you were told, but the gist of it was that we were told that there was a home invasion or burglary, and that there were potentially 3 victims that were all deceased, and another person that had been shot in this home, and that person was going to the hospital.
At this time, did you have any information on any potential suspects?
There was mention of a suspect, but the details that I was given at that time were incredibly limited, just that the suspect was no longer on scene.
So when you made your way to
Was that suspect the injured party?
Yes, at the hospital, we did make contact with him. He was being unloaded from the ambulance, you know, just as we had parked and walked in through the ambulance bay.
And do you see Alex Jackson in the courtroom today?
I do.
Would you please point to that person and describe the color of shirt and suit jacket that person is wearing today?
Alex is sitting to the left of the defense. He's wearing a black suit coat, gray shirt.
I'm sorry, Investigator Denlinger, could you say that again and maybe just kind of back up a little bit? We're kind of getting some feedback from your microphone.
Okay. Alex is sitting to the left of the defense. He's wearing a black sports coat, gray shirt.
And the individual with the goatee?
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
The record so reflects.
How come this man is the only one that has problems with the
On a
mic
normal
and
day, I would
people
wear dress pants, dress shoes,
talking,
shirt usually. You wear like a polo shirt or something.
and nobody else
Are you equipped with any type of body camera?
No.
tell the people how to
June 15th
testify?
of 2021, when you arrived at the hospital to make contact with the defendant, were you equipped with any type of body camera on your person?
No.
Did you have any type of recording device on your person?
No.
As you were making contact with the defendant at the hospital, was there any other officer around?
Yes, Officer Brown was present.
Is that Officer Tim Brown?
Yes.
And as the defendant is taken into the hospital, into one of the examination rooms, do you ask Officer Brown for anything?
I told Officer Brown to stay with the Mr. Jackson because I knew Officer Brown had a camera on him and I wanted it to capture everything.
Your Honor, At this time, I would like to re-begin State's Exhibit number 5, where we cut off. I believe the time that we cut off from a few days ago on State's Exhibit 5 was around 9:11 a.m.
All right. Before we do that, though, we took our break a little bit early. I'm just going to give everybody a quick stretch break before we start with the video. And this is a longer video. Is that correct, Mr. Shear?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. So everybody stand up, have a quick stretch.
It's not mandatory, is it?
No, you don't have to.
It's not mandatory. I just sat down.
You're not doing court-ordered calisthenics. So, all right.
Move along.
Your Honor, we are ready to republish State's Exhibit number 5. We will be actually starting the video up at about 9:10 and 50 seconds a.m. in the morning.
All right, and just so I know, you're anticipating this will take us till 4:30?
This will take us for the rest of the day, Your Honor.
So we'll be watching this video until 4:30, and then we'll break at 4:30 and let you go. But just so you kind of can expect what we're doing the rest of the day. All right. Make sure. All right.
Strap in, folks.
Yeah, that works. Can you clip it onto Brandon or something?
I don't have a clip. Mine's the basket weave thing. Oh, so we
Yeah.
we set it on.
So here. Yeah.
Yeah, someone knocks it over. There's that glove box up there. All these people can do that. Oh, yeah.
Is that just
Oh my God, I'm gonna get sick. Get me down.
Okay.
Medium breath? Okay, are you fine with that? Can you lock it?
22 years now. Been gunshot there. Looks like it threw it through. Kind of see what you got. Happened 30 minutes to an hour ago. I'm not sure when. Either we run it down. Haven't asked. Honestly. You guys get your hands on it, okay? Sure. Husband on stable, I get 100 fentanyl. He's got an 18 and a left AC for you if you need it. Yeah, it's the one in the monitor on the higher time though.
He said he had 100 of fentanyl.
That's what he, yeah, that's like the only bag, like, yeah, and he's got 100 fentanyl too. Yeah, we're still having a lot of things. I think that's just why you work on this.
And this isn't tied, right?
That is not tied, no.
Thank you. 36.
Great foot, man. So, you got those fingers?
All right.
They're already on. Just not to make sure.
Brian, Alex, I'm talking to them. How bad are you hurting right now? Okay, after the payments I gave you?
Yeah.
Cool. What would you rate it 0 to 10 to be the worst? Can you wiggle your toes for me? We've got the dental marks. Yeah, you want to off the mark.
You want to still with one? Can you get your back up? Okay. You came back here. In your belly at all? In your chest?
So he just said send his hand about it again.
That's fine. Tell me what happened today. There was a minute.
You can come in if you want. Okay. Come in your way. Get Marcy one for that. What were you saying? That's fine.
Like, but he doesn't even really know. He doesn't even know he's being recorded. None of the nurses and stuff, do they know that they're being recorded? Well, they do now. Ooh.
What happened to you?
Brandon him.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I pushed him. Then tried to chase the gun. And well.
You may.
I won't say nothing. I won't say nothing with all these people around.
The attorneys informed me the audio isn't working as well as they expected it to, so we're going to take a short 5-minute break. Hopefully they can get that squared away so we can all hear better. So take a 5-minute recess or thereabouts in an attempt to do a technological fix here, and just remind you of the admonition that I gave you previously, and hopefully this will be a short break, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. He does have some big ass feet though. But why shoot yourself in the foot? That hurts. Why you gonna do that?
I can even turn mine. I'm not planning on talking.
Yeah. Is that here?
Yeah. Knock it over. That's that glove box up there. Probably just keep bumping that. Oh, yeah.
Well, the audio is much louder now. I can hear it. I gotta watch it again. I don't need to rewatch. None of that.
Ken? What's your last name? Doctors will probably come back in
Yeah. He's gonna check your pulse is okay and your toes make sure they're all right.
I'm going out to chart.
A Doppler. That's what you listen to the baby.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, my name's Sarah, and I'm an investigator with the police department. Okay? And this is my partner, Matt. He's an investigator too at the police department, okay? All right, but do you go by Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your, is it Alexander? Is that your full name?
Yeah.
Okay. Alexander, you want me Alex or Alexander?
Either.
Okay. Do you have a middle name?
Ken.
Ken?
Yeah.
And what's your last name?
Jackson.
Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
What's your birthday?
September 20th. Oh, yeah.
So you're 20? Yes.
Can y'all stop fucking taking pictures of my foot so these people can clear it up?
Any numbness or tingling at all in your foot? You feel me touching here? Yeah. Right here? Yeah. Here? Yeah. Here? Yeah. Here? Yeah. Here? Yeah. Here? Yeah. Here? Push down. Okay, push down on my hand. Pull up towards your nose. We're gonna get you some pain, okay? Okay. We'll get some energy out of that foot.
Work it, work
Oh,
it.
no, I'm just, I take photos of blood, so.
Do you have any other injuries, Alex?
I hope not.
Okay.
I hope not.
Doing okay, bud? Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna let, Brandon, he also works with us. We're gonna let him finish up, and then the doctors will come back in and.
Alex, you guys have, one of my coworkers is out of the house. They were hoping to get some video of this, what happened. You guys have like a DVR or anything? Camera system at your house?
There's like a camera in front.
Where's
There's one by the garage too.
Where's this recorded?
Online?
You know what company it is?
No. All I know is right there.
Do you know, is it like a Ring system or Arlo?
Yeah, that's it.
Which one?
Ring?
Ring?
Yeah.
It's a Ring system?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are y'all just gonna fucking stand there like?
Right now with some photographs. So you got some blood in your hands too. Do you mind if I take some photos of that here real quick? You can. You just put your hands down just like that. Yeah, that's perfect.
Do you want me to take that off this finger?
Actually, that can real quick.
Alex, we'll put that right back on you, bud. It just. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's my foot blood.
Okay.
I think the operator made me.
All right,
Do you want to flip your hands over? Yeah, there you go. Just keep holding there.
Can we pull it up like?
That's good.
There, yeah. You want to do that? That too, yeah. Yeah, just like that. That's perfect.
And this is just normal stuff. Brandon just takes lots of pictures, alright?
Yeah, it's just normal. Don't worry about it. We're not gonna charge you with murder later on. Don't worry about it. We're gonna talk to you like you're a victim and not read you your rights because we don't have to. We're not actually interrogating you.
It's not shut.
Yeah. This is a bit blood or is there a little cup there or no?
I have a little cup there. I might just take a photo of that if you don't mind.
Can we put this back in your finger? Just get your pulse for you.
Yeah, sometimes I put big photos. Very standard though. We just like to, especially injuries like this, gotta do our best to document everything. You know, I don't think so. Because it looks like it comes out the bottom of your foot. Oh. Yeah, were you wearing shoes when it happened?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't sleep with shoes on, so.
You always said you didn't sleep with shoes on?
Yeah.
Don't usually sleep with shoes on.
If you could, are you able to, does this leg hurt at all?
No.
Are you able to like rotate it in the other? Yeah, so I can kind of see the full sense of your.
I'm gonna sign one. I'm running now, so I gotta. Yeah, unless I expect a lot of Okay. He says Jen handles that.
Yeah, it looks like it probably went through your foot. Where were you at when this happened? I wonder if you find that bullet on the ground.
Does that say?
Where in the downstairs? Ow.
Is there a lot of, how big is your downstairs? Is it pretty big?
Sure.
Yeah,
Senior housing
it's
kind of makes
big,
sense there.
kid.
Yeah. Hey Alex, this is kind of confusing for us, all these circumstances, and we would like to chat with you some more about what happened and try to help you figure it out. Sarah and I would, but I'm just going to read you your Miranda warning just in the off chance that you had something to do with it. But you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. The right to talk to an attorney, have an attorney present during questioning. If for whatever reason, Alex, you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by the court to represent you with any question if you wish. Okay? You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer questions or statements. Sure. All right. With those in mind, be all right if we chat with you a little bit. Great.
Nope.
Hopefully the staff will be back in to get you going on your foot here shortly. I know you're in pain.
Nope. I would not like to talk
What's
to
your
you.
address?
4444 Hawaii Court, Kentucky.
Northeast?
Yeah.
Do you have a phone number?
My phone number?
Yeah.
It's 319
I would not like to speak with you.
440 4730.
I would like to speak with a lawyer.
No?
But my mom and my daddy are dead, and I don't know how to get one.
Iowa.
Oh, okay. Are you still in Iowa?
So,
Where'd you go to high school? Here's your address?
Kennedy.
You went to Kennedy?
Yeah.
When did you graduate?
19.
2018, and then you went to Iowa? College at Iowa for a couple years?
Yeah.
but you're gonna let me sit here and talk to this pretty lady, and this pretty lady's
Do
gonna
you
get
take any
me to talk.
medications?
Just allergy.
Just allergies? Okay.
Ooh.
Allergic to anything? Okay. Do you use any recreational drugs or anything?
We don't need to know that.
No? No marijuana?
No, I've never touched it.
Okay. No cocaine? No methamphetamine? Nothing like that?
That's the
Drink alcohol?
cocaine.
Like a beer a week.
Okay. Have you had anything to drink today?
No.
No? Did you have anything to drink last night?
Just
I love the
Okay.
cocaine.
No alcohol?
No.
Okay.
I
No.
haven't practiced it.
Okay. Haven't had any alcohol for a while.
Turn off the
Alright,
machine.
no medications. You don't take any drugs of any kind, and don't drink any.
He already said he doesn't take any.
Untreated illnesses, mental health, or physical illnesses? I hope not. Hope not. Okay.
I hope not.
Nothing you're aware of? Nope.
You guys aren't the
I was
doctors.
So Matt and I, we didn't go out to your house, so we weren't really there to get to see.
You want me to read my story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could just start to fill us in so we can understand a little bit what went on.
Well, how far?
Well, kind of stuff like, can we start out with like last night, maybe? Like,
Yeah.
what time did you get home last night? Or,
I was home
okay,
all day.
okay. What time did you go to bed?
11, I think.
And where did you sleep at?
On the porch.
Like outside, or is it a screened-in porch?
Screened porch.
It's a screened-in porch. How come you slept on the porch? Is it, were you normally
It's
sleep?
nice up there.
Oh, okay. Do you have a bedroom at your house?
Yeah.
Okay, but you just wanted to sleep.
I sleep up there. I don't
Oh, okay. What's your dog's name?
hero.
Hero? What kind of dog?
English?
So you went to bed about 11. And who was there anyone else? Who lives with you at the house?
Well, and sister and dog.
Okay. What's your mom's name?
Melissa.
Okay. What's your dad's
What?
name? Jim?
Jan. J-A-N.
J-A-M?
Yeah.
And what's
Or
your
J-A-N.
Jim?
Yeah.
What's your sister's name?
Sabrina. Like the witch.
Okay. How old is she?
19, 18.
She's still in high school?
Sabrina, like the witch.
College.
Can I give him payments or? Is your foot real bad? Do you think you can hold off on payments?
Bitch, I was shot in my foot. Yeah, it's real
If that's all right
bad.
with you. Right, or Matt, or
No, that works. Hey, Sabrina like the witch. Yeah. Is that a nickname you got?
Just here, 'cause
It's Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Yeah.
Not based on how she acts.
All right, so you go to bed at about 11 last night on the porch. Were you the last one to go to bed?
Maybe. I think my mom was still walking around.
You see the sign? It's the yellow on the bottom.
Yeah.
And no, mom, dad, and Sabrina were all at home too?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go to bed, and then what time did you wake up this morning?
I woke up and heard gunshots. I went inside.
You see the time.
What door did you know?
The porch door. And he's taller than me, I think. I don't know if he was there.
You know, there's a white man, black man, Hispanic, Asian.
Oh, I know he's wearing black clothes. I don't.
When you go in that screen door, or the door from the screen in porch, what room are you in?
The kitchen.
You should lift your foot up, Alex. There you go. You're just bleeding quite a bit.
So you just go right into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And he's in the kitchen too?
So I heard him downstairs. So I went downstairs. He was messing with my dad's guy.
Okay, huh?
22. Right? Yeah.
Do you have a mask on?
Oh yeah, one of those ski masks or whatever.
Or a ski mask? Did you see his hair?
No.
How about his shoes?
He doesn't strike me as the type of person that's pretty observant to his surroundings.
Yeah, that's okay. Did you see Jody?
He strikes me as the kind of person that's pretty.
So you went downstairs, he was messing with your dad's gun. And then what happened?
Well, he's messing with her. And oh my dad, I think.
He told your dad. What do you think that?
I don't know.
What was your dad saying anything to him?
He was on the floor. And I ran at him.
Your dad was.
You would have to.
You're gonna have the guy with the gun.
Yeah. And
What room are you guys in?
Bobby.
It's like a big family room.
Pretty much. Yeah. Glorious bastards.
You and your dad did?
Exactly.
Not the whole family.
Was everyone getting along real good last night?
Yeah. We have our tank inside.
Mr. Shear, I think this is the time to stop, but I've got 9:35, I believe. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop for the day. Asked to be back here ready to go at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, I'd remind you of the admonition that I've given you. Still more evidence to hear. Keep an open mind. Wait till you've heard everything. Don't talk to anybody about this case. Don't let anybody talk to you. Stay away from any media coverage of this case. And again, no sort of investigation on your own. So thank you all and have a good night. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye. There's something after this. Wonder if he's thinking, God, I was fat then. He's done the prison diet. Nope. He sure has.
All right, go ahead and have a seat.
Ew.
Anything we need to talk about on the record from the state's end?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Johnson, on behalf of Mr. Jackson? All right, you're good.
No, Your Honor.
So are we done? Well, I guess we're done. They're just going to talk amongst themselves. Okay, fantastic. 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 Oh, gosh. We'll remove. Well, that was fun. I got shorter. Oh, my back. Never mind my double chin, y'all. So, that was day 3. That was the end of the day 3. So, day 4 is going to start right back up with the body cam footage. Let's see. This is day 4. Let's sure. Oh my god, it goes for so long. He's a big kid. He's not a kid. He's a big guy. Oh my god, it even goes after the break. And then another break. And it goes on some more after that break. And then what's this video? It's another interrogation. What's this? Okay. Well, so that's that. So day 4 is more of the hospital video and then another interrogation video when he's in a wheelchair in some interrogation room. And then we get to hear some DNA stuff. And then, we get ring camera footage. And then that's the end of that day. And then day 5. Oh God. 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 Shut up. Day 5 is what? Break, 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 break. More of this investigator. Same fucking investigator, man. Oh, God. Crime scene photos. More of this investigator. Oh, God. Okay. Day 5, part 1. Day 5, part 2. Please tell me this guy gets off the stand at some point. Up it is somebody else. I don't know. Oh, the puppies. He's talking about the dog. The car is running. They're not. How do you say lightsaber? So day 5, the defense, I think, goes on. Okay, anyway. And then day 6. Day 6. Jesus. Oh, they are fighting on day. What day is this? I don't know, but they're fighting. Okay, get spicy. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Okay, I gotta go to bed. It is 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. and I gotta do my day job tomorrow. And it's hard in my ears because my other ones are downstairs. Anywho. Okay. Well, that is that, y'all. That is the end of day 3. We'll get into day 4 in the next go round. And then the verdict's already in. So no spoiler alerts, no spoilers. And you can watch it if you'd like, but you can also just wait and watch it with me if you'd like. That'd be fun too. I mean, so sorry. I kind of already know what it is, which is upsetting, but it's upsetting that I know what it is. But they put it right there in the title when you're going to look for the video. It's stupid. But whatever. Just don't look for it. Just wait for me to put it out there. I won't put it in my video. I'll just put verdict. How about that? Anyway, okay. Remember, like and subscribe and put your comments in the comment section and let me know what you think. Guilty, not guilty. What are your thoughts? Tell me. Please let me know. Okay? Anyway, okay. Let me know. Okay, I'll see you. I see you on the next one, which will not be tonight. So hopefully the next time you see me out will be in something different. But maybe. I'll probably change. Yeah. It'll be another day. But anyway, okay. Love you. Peace.